friends, it's Lisa and welcome to a new weekly vlog. So the BTS readathon is still going on. We're nearing the end though. We have like just over a week left, so I'm still going to be vlogging. I'm going to hopefully be finishing my TBR. Fingers crossed. I'm optimistic, but also it's me, so who knows what will happen. But it's actually Tuesday. I didn't vlog much yesterday because I ended last week's vlog and then was editing most of the day, so I'm sorry you missed another day, but really nothing much happened. I did, however, finish Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, so the 13 prompt is now complete. That was to read a book with either 13 in the title or 13 letters in the title, so that is now done. I have 2 prompts left, so I'm optimistic, but once again, you never know. I think I had like 80 pages left of this last night, and I've currently been going back and rewatching Stranger Things. So what I told myself was you can go and watch some episodes of Stranger Things once you finish this book, and it actually worked. Sometimes I do that and I don't listen to myself and just do whatever I wanted to do anyway, so it actually worked, which was nice. So I finished this, I gave it 4 stars, I did really enjoy it. I feel like it's one of those books where the first half I did not know how I was feeling about it, but I feel like a lot of the things that were being brought up, a lot of the reasons why characters were acting certain ways and things like that, all of it was kind of explained in the second half. Like, I feel like the second half really brought everything together and really made me enjoy the story a lot more. It's also one that I don't really want to say that much about. I feel like it's one that you kind of need to go in not really knowing much about it. Obviously look into the trigger warnings. There's things such as suicide, like discussion of suicide as well, addiction, death of a loved one, I think illness as well. So just make sure you're aware of obviously the trigger warnings, but like if you think you can handle the content, going into it not knowing a whole lot, I think is kind of the best way to go about it. I feel like there were a lot of things though that I really related to. I ended up crying actually reading this book, which I think for some people means a lot more. With me, I cry at everything, so it's like, does it really mean that much? I was trying to find the part that really like got me crying, and it's basically the last page of the book. So that just, I feel like with everything that you read about and then just kind of the message on the last page, the last chapter, it's just emotional and I'm sensitive. I will say there were a couple things I didn't love. I'm not going to say too much because spoilers, but there is a character that ends up with another character and I didn't necessarily love the pairing. I liked that a character was happy, but I just didn't necessarily love the actual like pairing, but that was, you know, I could look past that a little bit. And then there was another thing that's going to be impossible to explain without talking about spoilers. So if you've read this book and want to know what I mean, feel free to message me. But basically there's a reveal in this book that I feel like Frederick Bachman kind of helped you to lead you away so that the reveal could happen and he could be like, huh? Did you see what I did there? Whereas I feel like it could have been done in a more subtle way and we still would have had the same thoughts and feelings towards the reveal and everything. I feel like this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but if you've read the book, maybe you know what I'm talking about. I don't really know how to explain it without spoilers, but overall I did enjoy it. I thought it was really good. It's one that once I got to the end, a lot of the stuff at the beginning that I wasn't necessarily loving kind of made a whole lot more sense. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it and would recommend if you are interested. But now I have 2 prompts left. So for the Golden Matinee prompt, I have The Last Magician. There's not a whole lot of gold on this cover, but I'm counting it. And then I also have the Euphoria prompt, which is to read a dystopian, so I'm going to be reading Red Queen. I think I'm actually going to pick Red Queen up next. I think I'm going to read this pretty quickly. The audiobook is also on like one of the apps I use through my library, so I will be able to read it a bit faster with the audiobook. I definitely think I'm going to mainly just read it physically, but I think having the audiobook kind of to listen to while I physically read will help me focus and get it done faster. So I think this is what I'm going to pick up next. So yeah, that is the update. I think I'm going to start Red Queen and hopefully get the last 2 prompts done before the readathon ends. That's the goal. So I just had some lunch, so I think what I might do is actually start reading Red Queen. I should edit my video that I filmed today, but do I want to do that? No, so I'm not going to. Like I said, I think I'm going to download the audiobook as well to kind of help keep me focused while reading it. I'm very curious to see how I end up feeling about this because I feel like a lot of people have pretty mixed feelings on the first book in the series. Like, I've heard good things and I've heard some not so good things. I know when the book first came out, I think in like 2015, I was super intrigued by it. I just never actually read it. But then I feel like I started seeing a lot more negative things, but I've also seen some people more recently like still enjoying it. So I'm interested to see how I feel about it. I've heard mostly bad things about the rest of the series though, so I might not continue on. We'll have to see how I feel by the end of it. So yeah, I'm really excited to read it. I have no idea as to how I'm gonna feel about it. I feel like it could really go either way, so I'm very excited to start it. I've decided, because it's such a nice day outside, I've opened my window. It's like 65 degrees. It feels so warm. I think I'm going to bring my desk chair over to my window and just sit by my window and take in the nice weather while I read. I would go and sit outside, but we honestly don't have the best like yard for sitting. I feel like I said yard weird. Yard? I don't know, like we do, we just don't have any like actually good seats, like outdoor seats. So I'm gonna just sit by my window and take it in that way and get some fresh air. Maybe I'll go on a walk later. I feel like I always say that and then it never happens, but maybe it will. Alright, so I'm not having the best start to my day today. Basically, I went to go and caption the video that I'm posting tomorrow. It's last week's vlog, but I uploaded it on Monday to YouTube. And normally it takes like max 24 hours for the automated captions to load. So then I just go in and edit those, and that's how I caption my videos. But it is now Wednesday. I uploaded it on Monday, so the automatic captions should have been loaded by now. They are not. So I'm having to go in and caption it all by hand, like typing it all out, and that takes a very long time. I highly recommend, if you're looking into captioning your videos, if you make videos, just waiting for the automatic captions to load and then editing those, because that goes a lot faster. But yeah, this has only happened a couple other times before. One was like a 17-minute long video and it took like 3.5 hours to caption. So this video is 34 minutes, almost 35 minutes long. So it's gonna take me a while, I think. I've already been captioning for like 20 minutes now and I'm only 3 minutes in, so good. I think I'm gonna do it in like increments of like 10 minutes. So it's like 35-minute long videos, so I'll just do it kind of 10 minutes at a time, because I feel like that's gonna take me a while and I don't want to just do it all at once, because that's when I normally end up having like a breakdown. So yeah, happy Wednesday. That's how my day's going so far. But the good news is that Casey is hosting some sprints on her channel later today, and she asked me to join, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun to just like chat with my friends after this. So that's happening at 2, and I will probably continue to read Red Queen. I'm up to page 63, which is the beginning of chapter 7, and so far I'm not really having like that many thoughts because I'm not super far into it. I will say that there was like a reveal that already happened that I'm like, I could have told you that like page 1 that was gonna happen. But I'm not hating it either. Like I am pretty interested to see like where everything goes, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I'll probably will continue reading that on Casey's live. Let's see how much reading we get done before Casey's just goes Among Us, because that's what ends up happening on a lot of sprints lately. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to captioning this video. So much fun, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. I'm very excited for Casey's sprint, so that's going to be a nice break after all of this. Hello friends, we have a very exciting day today. Basically, Taylor Swift fans and BTS fans just don't know how to lose. Taylor Swift is releasing a new song tonight at midnight, so that's very exciting. It's one of the songs from the vault that she's releasing from Fearless, so very excited. And BTS also just announced that they're like, it's like a repackaged Japanese album, basically. They have Japanese albums that they've released throughout the years, and this is kind of like the best of. And there's going to be some new songs, I think, or at least a new song, and I'm just very excited. I just found out that there's going to be 56 photo cards in it, so that's a lot. And that's how they get you with those albums, those little pieces of cardstock with their faces on it. It really gets you. So good news, I managed to finish captioning that video. It took like 4 hours in total for me to caption it, so that's fun. I realized last night that I could have probably tried like re-uploading the video and seeing if the automatic captions loaded on the new one, but I feel like I've tried that before when this has happened and it didn't work. But I don't know, if this happens again, I'll have to try that and see if that works. But by the time I thought of that last night, it was too late. But yeah, the captions are finally done, so that's very exciting. I also have made some good progress in Red Queen, so that's also exciting. So yesterday I was on Casey's channel to do sprints, and they were actually really productive. I managed to get over 200 pages in, and I think I started at page like 60 something. I also did read a little bit more after the sprints ended, like later on that night, and then I got it in my brain that I wanted to watch an episode of Stranger Things, so then that ship sailed. But I did read a lot yesterday. And I really just do not know how I feel about this book, because it's basically like every other YA fantasy book or dystopian book that I've read before in one book. I think the best way for me to describe this is like Shadow and Bone and The Hunger Games. That's this book. Like, that's it. So let me describe this book, and then maybe you'll see the similarities to Shadow and Bone. So there's this girl who grows up in this not so great situation. She has a childhood best friend that she grows to have a fondness towards in her teen years. Eventually she's in a life-threatening situation where her powers that she didn't know she had come through and cause a whole lot of issues. Then because of those powers, she ends up being whisked away to the castle, to the palace, and she ends up staying there to kind of learn about her powers and to probably be used by the people in power. And also the people who also have powers wear certain outfits that are certain colors to kind of show what their powers are and what family they belong to. Did I just describe Shadow and Bone, or did I describe this book? The answer is both. And then it also kind of reminds me of The Hunger Games, because there's a war happening in this book. So there's this group of people that are trying to rebel against like the main people in power, and I feel like that's not necessarily like specific to The Hunger Games and this book copying The Hunger Games, because rebellions happen across a lot of YA books, but it's just like the way that it's working in this book reminds me specifically of The Hunger Games. Like there's this group that's kind of hidden, that's only kind of making themselves known to the capital or the royalty in this world, in this book, and they're also trying to make like the main character like the face of the rebellion. I think like that's something that was mentioned in this book, so like very similar to Katniss. So basically what I'm trying to say is I don't feel like this is original at all. But the reason I'm so confused about how I'm feeling about it is because I'm not hating it. Like I'm not having a terrible time reading it, even though I feel like I'm not reading anything unique in the slightest. I feel like this is one of those books where if I had read it when it was first being released in 2015, I probably would have liked it a lot more, but I just feel like I'm reading every other YA fantasy that I've ever read, ever. It's hard because I feel like I'm reading it not because I want to know what's going to end up happening, because I have a prediction on what's going to end up happening. I feel like this is not a unique enough story for me to not know where this is gonna go, which I will tell you if I am right or wrong when I get to the end of this book, but I don't feel like I'm reading it to know what's gonna happen, but like I'm entertained regardless. I do feel like the middle is losing me a little bit, like I'm not like as like loving it now that I'm more in towards the middle, but I have heard that the ending there's like a crazy plot twist, which is why I'm saying that I feel like I know where things are gonna go. But maybe not, because I feel like everyone comments on the plot twist, so maybe it'll be shocking for me too. I don't know. So I don't really know how I'm feeling about this, because like on one hand it's not unique in the slightest, so I'm not reading it to know like what's gonna happen. It's so like mysterious and stressful. Like it's not at all, but like I'm not having a terrible time reading it. Also, the writing isn't that bad either. Like I for some reason went into this expecting the writing to not be super great, but I actually don't mind it. I don't think it's that bad. There have been a couple of times where she's used like excessive commas to like describe things. So at one point I was trying to find it and last night because I knew I was going to talk about it in this video, but I can't find it. But basically it was like the silver bloods, the silvers, the bad guys, the superiors. It just like kept going with all these commas, and it was like, okay, like I get what you're trying to say, just end the sentence. That's happened a couple of times, but other than that, it's been fine. Like the writing's not bad. I know this author I think is coming out with a new book this year, maybe? I don't know if it's this year, but it's like outside of this series. I think it's the first book that's not in this series that she's releasing, so I'm definitely intrigued to check it out. So overall, do not know how I'm feeling about this, because I feel like it's not unique at all, but I'm also not having a terrible time. So I don't know. But I think I have like just over 150 or so pages left of this book, so I'm going to try and finish it today. I've also been listening to the audiobook while I've been physically reading along with it the whole time I've been reading it, which I think has been helpful in getting me like through it a lot faster. So I think I'm gonna try and finish this today, quickly because I need to go and get the book. I think I'm going to do a TBR change, which I feel like if you've watched any of my readathon vlogs before, this should not come as a shock that I'm changing my TBR. It's funny, I used to be pretty like on top of my TBRs. Like once I picked out a TBR for a readathon, I would stick to it. But I feel like the past like 4 or 5 readathons that I've done, I've been like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna read what I want to read. So I think I'm going to be changing my TBR just for the final prompt that I have left. I think I'm going to pick up The Descent of the Drowned by Anna Laldin, which I hauled in my last vlog from last week. I was saying in last week's vlog that me and my friends Andrea and Armin are planning on buddy reading this, and I think we're all ready to start it. So I think I'm going to pick this up after I finish Red Queen. And it just worked out like perfectly that this could count for the final prompt that I have left, which is the Golden Magne prompt, which is to read a book with either gold in the title or on the cover. And I think like the snake on the cover is definitely gold, so I say it counts. I definitely think that this counts like more than The Last Magician did. And I'm once again putting off reading The Last Magician, but I promise I will read it next month. It's happening. I need to read it. But it worked out perfectly that this would count for the last prompt that I had left, so I'm very excited. I've been wanting to read this since I got it in the mail last week. I've just been staring at it on my bookshelf, so very excited about that. And I think this is like just over 400 pages, so this should go relatively quickly. Like I should be able to finish it in time for the readathon to end, but we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to give one last update before I probably finished Red Queen, because I wanted to say that I have a prediction. I'm not going to say what it is because I want to be able to say if I'm right or not when I finish. So I have a prediction. We'll see if I'm right when I finish it, and hopefully I will be finishing it today. Alright friends, I have completed yet another prompt. I feel like I'm starting to get back into like a reading groove. Like I've been reading a lot recently, which has been quite nice. I feel like it's been a while since I've been like motivated to actually read. But I ended up completing Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard like 15 or so minutes ago, and I'm counting this for the Euphoria prompt, which is to read a dystopian. I feel like this is kind of a dystopian fantasy type of thing, and I feel like it counts. I'm not really into dystopians, so I had to do what I could. So yeah, I read this for the Euphoria prompt. I gave it 3 stars. I am still kind of confused about how I feel about this book. I've been trying to sit here and figure out how to explain it. Basically, I feel like what this book set out to do, it didn't do it poorly. Like, it's a decent book. Like, I think the writing's pretty good. I think it's entertaining, I guess. I just wouldn't say it's the most unique and groundbreaking thing I've ever read, which is fine if you're going into this book for pure entertainment. I feel like going forward, if I were to continue the series, I would just go in for a good time. It would just be an entertaining read and that's it, because I feel like this book didn't do anything different from a lot of other books that I've read. I think for me, it's mainly just like the tropes and things that are used in here have been used and we've seen in other books before. It just didn't feel like they were used in a unique way or unique to this story or in a different way than from what we've seen before. Like, I felt like I was literally reading a mashup of books that I've already read. It didn't feel like it added anything new with these tropes that I've already seen. Again, I don't think this is necessarily bad. I just feel like it's very similar to a lot of books I've already read. So, I mean, there's really not a whole lot for me to say. I just feel like this is one of those books where in like a month or so from now, I'm just gonna completely like forget about it and just not really like remember what happens because it's just so similar to a lot of other books that I've read. I will say the plot twist was a bit spicy. I feel like there were kind of 2 thoughts that I had on what the plot twist was going to be, and one of them ended up being right. Even though I did kind of guess where the ending was going and like what was going to end up happening, I still feel like there were moments within the plot twist that were still shocking. Like the ending was still definitely like kind of stressful. It was the most like engaged I felt with this book basically the whole time because I kind of felt like, okay, here's the plot twist that I called. What are they going to do after that? Like, what's going to be the effects of this plot twist happening? And that's where I feel like I was a bit more shocked and a bit more entertained. There also was something that was revealed on like the last like couple of pages. I think it's like in the epilogue that it's revealed. And I called that so early on. Like the second we find out about something to do with that, I'm like, okay, that's what's gonna happen. And it happened. So I just don't feel like there was anything that was like super unique in this story. So it just felt very like my engagement and like my excitement to continue on felt very like equal the whole way through. Like there weren't moments where I was more bored. There weren't moments where I was super engaged. It was pretty like equal across the whole thing. But also like I wouldn't say that this is a bad book. Like the writing was fine. The characters were fine. I don't know how I feel about the main character. She was kind of like, she had moments where I was like, really? But for the most part, I did like the characters. I mean, I didn't love them, but like they were fine. I thought the writing was fine. Like I don't think that this was bad. I think what it set out to do, it did and did it well and it was accomplished. I just don't think, because I've read so many other YA fantasies, that this was anything like new and unique to something I've read before. I don't know how to explain this, but basically it was fine. I could see why people really like this. I could see why people don't really like this. I'm very much in the middle. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the series. I feel like I'm not super invested to see kind of where it goes. Like I feel like I kind of know where this type of story is going to lead, but you never know. It could have been, this first book was pretty like basic in terms of YA dystopian and fantasy, but like the rest of the series could go in a direction that I'm not sure of. So I don't know. I've also heard that the second book is really bad, so I don't know if I want to read it, but we'll see. So yeah, I finished Red Queen. It finally happened. It's been on my TBR for a while. Like this physical copy I got as a gift for Christmas in 2019, so it's been a while since I've had it on my shelves and haven't read it, so I'm glad I finally read it. Finally glad that I know what this book is all about because I've been so interested in it for a while. So yeah, I read it, I gave it 3-star. It's not anything special, but it's also not bad. So those are my thoughts. So now I only have one more prompt left to complete, which is very exciting. I think there's like 6 days left, including today, left of the month, so I think I can do it. So I think I said that I was planning on changing my TBR to read The Descent of the Drowned instead of The Last Magician, so I'm probably going to start this at some point today. I feel like while I'm motivated to read, I should like take advantage of this. And like I said, I am buddy rating this with Armin and Andri, so I should message them and say that I'm going to be starting this probably at some point today. And I feel like they both read faster than me, so I feel like that will be also very motivating to keep me reading this and actually get it done in time for the end of the month. So yeah, I'm going to be picking this up and reading this next, and that's the final book on my BTS readathon TBR. I'm probably going to start reading this in a little bit. I might take a break from reading just for now, but I probably will pick this up later on in the afternoon or tonight. Other than that, that's it. I mean, Taylor Swift came out with that song. Should we talk about that? She came out with You All Over Me, which is one of the songs from The Vault. And it's so funny because I feel like a lot of these songs from The Vault are going to be some of the songs that were leaked, like, when these albums were first coming out. So I know that there was a lot of songs, I feel like, from the Fearless era that were leaked. So I'm excited to see which ones pop up. I feel like I haven't listened to a lot of the leaked songs in a really long time. Like I know I've heard them, but it's been a while. So it's going to be nice to kind of hear them for the first time, you know? I actually think You All Over Me was leaked, but I don't think that I actually heard it. So it was a great time. It reminded me a lot of Clean. It feels like Clean's like younger sister, and I love that because Clean is like one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. So it's a great time. I really like it. So yeah, You All Over Me is chef's kiss, excellent. I love it a lot. I'm very excited for Fearless to release again next month. All right, this is one of those times where I really don't know how to end a clip, so I'm just gonna say goodbye for now, and I'll probably check in with you guys when I start The Descent of the Drowned. Hello my friends, it's now Saturday, so today we had the live show for the group book that we picked for the BTS readathon, which was I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. I think we had a lot of really good discussions about it. None of us really loved it. Like I think we all gave it kind of within the 3-star area. So it wasn't a complete winner, but I think we had a lot of really good discussions. So if you want to go and check it out, I'll have it linked in the description of this video in case you want to see it. But for a reading update, I did manage to start The Descent of the Drowned, and I think I'm up to chapter 3. Yeah. Chapter 3, I've read 20 pages, so I'm doing well. I did put a tab in the back because there's a glossary, which is really helpful, really nice, because there's a lot of words and a lot of things from this language that I just don't know. So I think that'll be helpful to be able to reference that. And so far I've only read 2 chapters, so I think it's setting up to be really interesting, but right now it feels like a bit info dumpy. Like, me and Armin were talking about it and we were saying like it does feel like there's a lot of kind of info and a lot of background being established into what this book is kind of about and like what type of characters are following and stuff like that. So there's been like a lot of information about like what the characters do and all of that stuff, but I feel like kind of once we get past these initial like explanations, it'll start to get really good because I think it's like a really interesting premise. But yeah, I really don't have a whole lot of thoughts yet just because I am only 20 pages in, but I'm definitely excited to see like where it goes. I also figured out that if I read 80 pages a day, I would be able to finish it in time before the end of the month and then be able to count it for the BTS readathon. So that is what I'm going to try and do. 80 pages is definitely doable. I think I can manage it. So I'm hoping to get this done in time. But yeah, I'll definitely give more thoughts when I'm a bit farther into it. I feel like right now I'm just kind of like trying to understand all the information that's being thrown at me, but it does seem really interesting so far. But yeah, other than that, that's really the update. Not a whole lot going on over here as per usual. I do have another live show tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. It's with me and a few of my friends, and we're going to be talking about Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So I'm excited. I'm ready to scream about Matthew Fairchild and Lucy. It's just gonna be a great time. I feel like they're gonna all have like coherent thoughts about like the plot and the characters and what things mean and predictions, and I'm just gonna be screaming. But it's gonna be fun. It'll be fun to talk about it with them like live and in person, and also anyone that comes. So very excited. I'll also have that live show linked below in case you want to check it out. But yeah, I'm just kind of relaxing, watching some YouTube videos. My mom's gonna bring me a coffee, so that's good. So I'm just gonna have a chill rest of my day, and I will probably check in with you guys at least one more time before this vlog ends. All right, folks, it's time for me to end this vlog. So just a quick little recap of what I managed to read this past week. So I did finish Anxious People by Frederick Bachman at the beginning of this week. Feels like it was so long ago that I finished this book, but it was the beginning of this vlog, I think. But I ended up giving this 4 stars. And then I also completed Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and I gave this 3 stars. I also would love to know if you've read this book and this series, if you would recommend continuing, depending on how, like, knowing how I felt about it, would you recommend me continuing on? I would love to know. And then the final book that I started for this readathon was The Descent of the Drowned by Anna Laldine, and I am making progress in it. I'm only 80 pages in now. I know that that was my plan, to read 80 pages a day, and I didn't do that because I'm only 80 pages in at this point, so I definitely need to get reading these next couple of days. Oh my god, it's super windy. I'm sorry if you've been able to hear that in the background. It's just constant and I can't control the weather, so so yeah, I have a few more days left of the readathon to complete this, so I will be vlogging this next week as well, so you can see if I manage to finish this or not and complete all the prompts for the readathon. But yeah, I think that that is going to wrap up this vlog. But by the time this vlog goes up, the readathon will have officially ended. So thank you for anyone who participated, and also if you did participate, definitely let me know like what books you read, what prompts you completed, how well you did. Love to know how you guys did throughout the month. But I think that that is going to complete this week's vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's vlog, the final vlog for the BTS readathon. Bye.